Hi everyone, welcome to Poetology. As promised a few weeks ago, this is my reading vlog for the 3 books that I got on a little trip to some of my favorite London bookshops. I will link that other video above if you want to have a look at it. The idea was that I would go to 3 different bookshops that I love and pick one book at each of those, and I got this book from Gaze the Word, this book from Treadwell's, and this one from Foyles. And so I read all 3 of them, and I'm going to share with you my experience and my thoughts on each one of them. The first one that I read was Leo Boix' collection Ballad of a Happy Immigrant, and I started reading it on the train back from London, so straight away, because I was hoping that I could get in touch with Leo and have a conversation with him about the book, and the interview is available. I will link it above. Some of the things I liked about Leo is that he's a local writer. He lives in Deal in Kent, not very far from where I am, and like me, he's a queer poet as well as an immigrant. He's also a lovely person whom I've met a couple of times. So please check out the interview where we talk about all these things and Leo reads one of his poems. I felt quite close to some of the themes of this book, and I loved the presence of nature, especially landscapes and birds, and the question of leaving family behind to make a life for yourself somewhere else as a queer person. It's beautifully written, and there's a very interesting play with translation and bilingualism in much of Leo's work. I recommend you read it. The second book I read was Autumn Richardson, Ajar to the Night. I read it in one sitting outside on a sunny day, and as you can see from this short video, the cat kept distracting me. I think this is meant to be read at dusk, or if you wake up in the middle of the night with insomnia. This collection belongs to that kind of liminal space. There are very few words on each page. It's like an invitation to let them float around a little and take your time with each of these lines and words. The collection is split into 3 long poems, although they really don't take very long to read because of how sparse the whole collection is. And the lines are lush with imagery, very rhythmical, enticing. As such, it really belongs to a tradition of mystical poetry, magical poetry, like another collection that I have by the same publisher, which is Tara Morgana by Paul Holman. But I preferred Autumn Richardson to this particular collection of Paul Holman's. I talk about this and also 2 other anthologies by the same publisher, anthologies of esoteric poesis, in this video above, so check that out too. It's a more meditative form of poetry. Finally, I read Gregory Ohr, the last poem I will ever write, in a park in London on a beautiful, beautiful day. I love Gregory Ohr's book, Poetry as Survival, which I discussed in another video that I will also put above. And I loved some of his poems, especially the ones about childhood grief and grief in general. I think Gregory Ohr writes beautifully about grief and how it lends beauty to everyday life. I will put a link below of Gregory Ohr reading out one of his poems, Gathering the Bones, I think, which is amazing. His style is close to, I would say, the American tradition, like Billy Collins, for example. It's an easy read in simple language, but at times it's kind of profound. I'm going to read one of his poems. This is Young, I Took It All So. Young, I took it all so personally when things vanished. There's a word for that, inconsolable. You'd think, as I grew older, I'd have adjusted to the simple fact that everything's borne away on a ceaseless flood. But then, I'd never have become a lyric poet, someone with a grudge against the world he loves. So this was just a quick review of 3 books that I've read recently. I've really enjoyed making this, so let me know if you like this type of video so I can make more. Let me know if there are other things you would like to see on this channel so I can integrate some of your suggestions. And it's always really nice to read your comments, so thank you so much for that. This was just a quick short video, but there are plenty of other links for you to have a look at. And if you enjoy what you see, please subscribe to this channel. It will really help me develop Poetology and do interesting things with it. And it's always good to have a like as well. I hope you had a good time watching this, and I hope to see you again very soon. Bye! Everything is blurry now.